Hello, welcome back. So, today we'll start a new topic and we'll talk about depression. Depression is a commonly encountered illness and pretty much is known about it. Fortunately, the stigma regarding depression has reduced in the last few years or maybe last decade. Still, I think more awareness about all the symptoms and the cause will probably have a better understanding of all the humans and the illnesses. So, what is depression? Depression or depressive disorder, which is a clinical problem, it's a clinical illness. It is not the same as I am feeling depressed today. That is an English use, that's a literary use. That is also valid. But when we say depression clinically, then it essentially means a disorder. In depressive disorder, it is basically a mood disorder. That is, it's a problem pertaining to our mood. In depression, what happens is the mood state is essentially low. That is sad for a good amount of time. Usually our diagnostic criteria sets it as with a minimum of 2 weeks or more. It can be more in some people. It can be just 2 weeks or maybe a month in some people. This sadness is persistent. It is not situational. Like if some bad thing happens to me, if there is a news of an accident or if there is something bad going on around us, we may be sad. But in depression, the sadness is persistent. It stays beyond all the situations and its proportionate reactions and all. Also, it pervades into all other activities that we do. It is there, whatever we do. If we are trying to distract ourselves and do something else, it will still be there. It will not go away. Some people also experience significant irritability. By that I mean, those people, they might be just irritated or excessively irritated with very minor issues, which probably wouldn't have caused such a reaction in that person earlier. The person, the sufferer, has a sense of lethargy. The activity levels becomes very low. So whenever the person gets up from bed in the morning, say, it almost feels like he or she doesn't want to get up at all. Say I have depression, so whenever I'll get up in the morning, I'll feel like, why am I even getting up? What will I do? It's so bad. I don't feel good. I wish I did not have to go to work. I wish I did not have to start my household work. I wish I did not have to even get up from bed. So the person is also has easy fatigability. That's what we call it. The person gets tired very easily with much less amount of work as compared to before. For example, if I could maybe wash utensils, cook, and then probably do some dusting and some sweeping, I wasn't tired. This is what I was earlier. But now, even starting may be a botheration for me. After washing 2 utensils, I might just feel that I just don't want to do it. I feel I can't do it. Often there will be people who may not really complain of it, because they, however, push themselves to work. In more severe cases, like even moderate or even very severe depression, that is also not possible. So the person often just doesn't get up. That becomes more visible. But even in mild depression, this feeling is there. Then we come to anhedonia. Anhedonia is a concept which means that reduction in pleasure in the activities which were previously pleasurable. Even the anticipation of, suppose there's a wedding or there's some party, we don't have the anticipation. We don't have the pleasure in anticipating, oh, I'll go for a party, oh, I'll dress up, or oh, I'll meet my new friends. That pleasure is not there. There will be people who will feel, who won't feel like watching TV, whereas they could have watched TV as a hobby, or they could have probably watched TV for pleasure for hours before. There can be other examples of some such pleasurable activities that can vary from person to person, but essentially what happens is that person is unable to even indulge in those activities which used to give them pleasure before. There is reduced concentration. The person often feels that, yes, I'm pushing myself to work, but I'm not able to concentrate. So often there is a complaint of forgetfulness. Well, this is not a true forgetting. as I might call it, because here the concentration is low. The person is not able to register everything, not able to focus the attention on something for a sustained period. So there is, because we haven't registered certain things, we'll definitely not remember them later on. So that is not a true forgetfulness, but yes, it almost feels, that person almost feels that yes, he or she has forgotten things, forgotten to do certain thing, forgotten to call somebody, forgotten anything. There are cognitive triads. Cognitive, as we have already mentioned this word before. So cognitive is related to the planning, judgment, thinking, insight, all those things. So in the thinking, in depression, there is a problem. And these triad are hopelessness, helplessness, and worthlessness. The person feels that nothing is going to happen, nothing better is going to come out of my life. I'm going to be like this forever. Helplessness is, it's a despair, like nobody's able to help me. I can't be really rescued from whatever is happening. Worthlessness is, I am worthless. This is a thinking that I am the person who's worthless, because of whom everything is happening. There is in a lot of people, there is attached blame, self-blame, that I am guilty. I'm guilty of whatever is happening to me or whatever is happening to my family members. It does not amount to delusion, but that is an idea that is frequently present in that person's mind. There are suicidal ideations. In some people, there can be death wishes. Now, in the suicidal ideation, usually in mild depression, suicidal ideation is not present. In case of moderate or severe depression, yes, they may be present. And if there is suicidal ideation, it is an emergency. If there is a suicidal attempt, it is an emergency. Now, any wish to die can be like, I wish God takes me home and I just don't want to live anymore. That's passive death wish. And I can't bear this life anymore, so I would rather put an end to it. That is active suicidality. Like, I want to be the agent of my own death actively. Suicide, the entire process starts from an idea, then there is a plan, then there is an attempt. Some people succeed, unfortunately, and some people do not. In our new Mental Health Care Act, suicide has been decriminalized, which is a very good step, I would say, because it has been considered, which is truly considered, that anybody who has attempted to commit suicide is not a criminal, but rather was under great stress during that time. So it is better to understand if somebody is suicidal. It's always very wise and very, very important to seek help. There can be associated problems in sleep. One of the very common things are waking up way early before the usual time, almost 2 hours or even more. And in the morning, the mood may be very, very bad, probably the worst in the day. That also happens in certain types of depression. There can be a reduction in the appetite, and in certain cases, in some atypical situations, there can be increase in the appetite also. There is a change in the libido, that is the sexual interest, sexual activity, not feeling like having a sexual intercourse or sexual relationship of that sort. Now, there can be some equivalent, especially in children, adolescents, and some in the extremes of age groups. People often do not come and complain that I am sad. So we can see some other symptoms, like some anxiety symptoms which are visible, agitation, irritability. There can be body aches, headache. There can be these difficulties which are also visible, like sleep and appetite difficulties. Also, there is a difference in the socio-occupational functioning. That is how the person reacts to other people in the social circle, how the person is working as compared to before. And all these things are essentially weighed as per the person's standards before, not like something else. Like, I may have a different work capabilities, a different activity level than somebody else. So if I have depression, I'll have the reduction in activity level as per my own level, not as per somebody else's. So that is also very important to understand. So this will help the family members understand if there is a change from the person's activity level before to now. Depression can coexist with a lot of other disorders, all other anxiety disorders that we have talked about, OCD. It can happen as in a later part of psychosis, schizophrenia, or delusional disorder. It can happen in dementia, that is commonly used for the forgetfulness which happens in the elderly. We'll cover that in some other video. It happens in dementia. It happens in multiple medical illnesses also. For example, post-stroke depression, like depression after stroke, is a very common phenomenon. So what is it? What is the biology again? Now, the main culprit is serotonin. What are the neurotransmitters exactly? How are they acting? So neurotransmitters, say serotonin, it gets synthesized in our nerve, and then when the nerve, it gets stored after synthesis, after getting created, it gets stored in a vesicle in our nerves. When the nerve sends a signal, then it's released from the vesicle, and then it goes and acts on the receptors through which the neurotransmitter or the chemical will exert its action. Let's consider it as a slot machine. Like, we'll put a coin in the slot and then only the machine will work. So that is how it happens. Now, in this process, there is another parallel process which is going on, that some of the chemical is also taken up for future use, for storage or for resynthesis, these sort. So there is a problem in serotonin level, its transport, its action, this level in depression. There are gene polymorphisms, like genetic changes, which have also been seen, which is and that gene is a serotonin transporter gene. So we can see how important that is. So essentially we know why SSRIs, that is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, why are they given in depression while treating depression. This is the reason, because the serotonin level gets disbalanced. And as we have also seen earlier, that after one chemical gets disbalanced, because everybody is in sync, so after a few days, months, years, the others also start getting affected. There are other theories. There are psychological theories like psychoanalytic theory. There is cognitive theory. There are behavioral theories. Those are also there in depression, and also social theories. But again, all of them have to be together. It's not any one thing will cause absolute clinical depression in one person. It causes predisposition, vulnerability. But the final outcome will be decided by all the factors combined. So, what are the cognitive biases? Cognitive biases are some distortions, some alterations in our thinking. Now, these biases are often present in depression. I'll just tell you a few so that we'll understand what the other person goes through. For example, there is minimization. Like, if, say, I have the problem of minimization, that I minimize all the positive things that happen to me, all the good things that happen to me. Selective abstraction. If there is an event where there are two facets, one good, one bad, I'll selectively only focus on the bad event, only the bad thing. I'll just discard the good thing that is happening. Catastrophization. That is, something catastrophic is going to come out of it. Like, whatever is happening, something is going to be very bad, something catastrophic. Or generalization. So if one thing is bad, that means everything related to this is bad. These kind of distortions occur, and it is very important to address them. Once we address them, then probably there can be an alteration. Then the person's faulty thinking can be altered. Now, in depression, what happens? The judgment is often, the person is always seeing the world with a very bleak outlook, that nothing is going to happen, nothing is going to be good. So whatever decisions the person is taking is always colored by that mood, by those thoughts. So it is very important to wait to start medicines as required, or to start therapy as required, and then think about any concrete thing that is to be done with the life, anything. But first we need to treat it. Again, it has its own consequences. Suicide I have already talked about, and there are others. Well, what are the treatments? Again, for mild depression, psychological therapies are often sufficient, but if required, some people are given medicines, but that again depends on the risk factors, the genetic predisposition, whether there's a family history and everything, duration of the episode. So depression is treated in the therapy. There are multiple types of therapies: interpersonal therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, these kind of psychoanalytic therapies are also there, and that is chosen by the professional what therapy is to be done for this person, what is the most suitable for this person. With medicines, again, antidepressants, that's an umbrella term, and the most commonly used are the serotonin reuptake inhibitors. There are multiple other classes, and a lot of them have very good effect. So these medicines, again, as I was talking about antipsychotics, these do not cause dependence. Antidepressants per se do not cause dependence. It's not a sleep medicine, so it does not cause dependence. What it causes is like, if I have blood sugar, I do not take metformin today, I'll have a difficulty, I'll have a raised level of my sugar tomorrow. So that is what happens with depression, antidepressants also. So it is not that if I don't take the medicine one day and I am having symptoms again, that doesn't mean that I have got dependent on that medicine. It's just that because that medicine is required to keep the symptoms under control. That is for the medicine. There are so many people who have very strong, very strong cognitive biases. For them, only medicine will not suffice. It's absolutely necessary that a psychotherapy is started, that is a therapy is started. Again, it's always better to have both. The professionals, as clinical psychologists and a psychiatrist, they can choose at what time to start what, whether one thing is required for one, another is not required, that is their purview. And then they'll be able to tell us, and then when to start what, how to start what, and then how to go on with it. For the medicines, the minimum duration that the medicine is needed is at least 6 months. Can be more. It all depends on the person, the person's constitution, person's response, person's risk factors, and everything. And the therapies, again, therapies have different varying sessions. Some has 20 sessions, 24 sessions, or more, and that also is chosen depending on the person's response and the person's receptivity and the allied things. So if you have anybody who is not able to get up in the morning, he or she is just brooding, probably sitting on bed, not doing anything, not talking much to people, frequently complaining of something vague like pain abdomen or headache or some other physical symptom, which after a medical consultation has proven to have no organic basis, or that person is, whenever you probably go inside the room, you see some person crying, you ask the person is no, I was not crying. So whenever you see such things, please don't think that the person is just faking, or the person lacks willpower, that he or she does not have enough strength to just overcome it. It's not that. It's just like I can't have the strength to overcome my own blood sugar level if I have diabetes. I can't have the strength to overcome my serotonin depletion level if I have depression. And we'll have to understand that, so that we can empathize with the other people who are suffering from it. Because trust me, nobody likes to stay depressed, sad, not able to do anything. Nobody likes to stay like that forever. So it's very important that either you understand your own emotions, or you understand somebody else's behavior, some emotions, emotional turmoil that they're going through, and then you seek help, or you help the person to seek help. This is very important. Thank you. I hope this will answer a few queries, and we'll come up with something new next time. Thank you.